If you clicked on this video, I'm pretty sure you know what Big Mouth is, and you might also know what human resources is. And if you don't, well, I'm gonna try to explain the best I can. And while I do that, please enjoy these random ass speed paints in the background, because God forbid I find good footage of the show or random gameplay of mine. Now, I know there are other reviews on this show, but I'm not watching all that. I've only seen 4. 2 are from the same channel, and the other 2, they just grind my gears. They're from Ellis Mark and Mr. Cow. However, thankfully, this is not what this video is about. This is about why this show here is my cocaine, and that I may or may not need help. They say that this show was Big Mouth meets The Office, but since I haven't watched The Office, I'm just gonna call it Big Mouth, but with most of the illegal stuff cut out of it. That's the best way I can describe it. The show has the same monster stars as the first show, but this show in particular stars Amy Fairfax, the love bug, voiced by Adie Bryant, who made her first appearance on Big Mouth, like everyone else, but in Human Resources, she's the main character. She's also a girl failure, an alcoholic, a simp, I'll get to that later, and my fictional other. If both this show and self-shipping are considered cringe, they should at least go well together. In the first episode, it introduces us to the monsters that most would know if they're just taking a big leap into the Big Mouthverse. The infomercial introduces us to the hormone monsters, shame wizards, love bugs, depression kitties, and lastly, logic rocks. And that's where we're introduced to Pete Doheny, the main logic rock character of the show, played by Randall Park, and everyone who watches these shows' most shameful crush. For some reason. Now, like most logical people who've seen the show, I love Pete. I think he's best character, and this year made me relate to him even more. Mostly in season 2, which I believe is what ruined him, but I'll get to that in another video if this goes well. All I can say is, in season 1, I found him to be a straight man character who can be blatantly honest and does not hesitate to tell you the truth. It wasn't until episode 5 of season 1 is where he gets his edges softened, which I don't mind for the most part, but in season 2 is just where it made me just want to smack some sense into that giant forehead of his. And I blame all that on his crush for Rochelle, another love bug. Unfortunately, in the first season, she was already in a relationship with her best friend's fuck partner. Long story. Who's that said fuck partner? Dante the Addiction Angel, aka my profile picture, aka the one-trick bad boyfriend antagonist that everyone either wants him dead or just wants him. Period. He's so one-note that he doesn't even have a fucking last name. At least not one that I'm aware of. When he's not seducing victims with his Angel does and a seductive Australian voice, by the way, he's played by Hugh Jackman, he's out saying some stupid shit about his times on drugs, his 3 dicks, yes that's true, I don't know how he sleeps with that either. Or it's making people get high out of spite, like he did with Pete. Now, what I'm about to imply is something that is very much stupid, but considering the show I'm talking about, this seems on brand. Instead of both men fighting over some overrated love bug whose only noticeable trait is that she's played by Keke Palmer, Pete and Dante should have had things together. Now, let me explain. I know that they could never work as an official couple, but I think they could have had a subplot together where they got a flame and Pete is too ashamed of it, and Pete is too ashamed of himself for doing it with the same man who did Emmy and Rochelle, and Dante just rubbing it in his nose about it when they're alone, and it's only until the end where it gets revealed or some shit. Or does it take place in season 2? Have Dante do some blackmailing shit where if he doesn't become a slave, he shares a bit of them doing it to everyone in the office. I'm just saying. It could definitely replace the 2 subplots of Emmy and Van, the second Logic Rock, who has no last name, played by fucking Miley Cyrus, and the plot where Pete gets haunted and non-conned by a zombie penis. A long story. Just saying. I mean, you made toxic yaoi when there's already toxic yaoi potential right there. Again, just saying. However, I don't get why they didn't do that though, and why Dante was absent throughout most of the second season, making this poster false advertising. It's because this show's second season was in production during the 2023 writer's strike, and the person who was cooking with the yaoi was most likely in said strike. And as for Dante's absence, it's because Hugh Jackman was busy filming a movie people would actually watch. And the writers know that, so they didn't want to disturb him at this time. But I'm not shaming the writers for making a bad final season. They'll feel that way in a few years as they look back on their past work. I do hope they improve and make better scripts for other projects. Sharing your little review on the show is nice, but can you tell us why you're so addicted to the show in the first place? Alright, I'll tell you. The other reason this show is so deep in my brain is that it's literally my kind of show. I like the stupid jokes, the stupid stories, the stupid settings, and most importantly, the stupid characters. I'm gonna be frank, I find enjoyment in most of the shows that the reviewers deem bad. The ones I watched anyway. Yeah, sure, Big Mouth has the balls to show their Kyle E. Carosa X collection, and that people hate their art style and find it disgusting, but I've seen grosser art styles from everywhere else, and most of the time, I'm not seeing people hate on it. I'm not gonna elaborate. Please don't make me elaborate. The show came out in 2017, and strangely, 18 days after my 10th birthday. I found out it existed when I saw its second season trailer. And instead of being disgusted like most people would have, I was like, oh, I've got to check this shit out. I found out years after that I was and still am, hypersexual. And I read a comment somewhere that hypersexuality and big mouths / human resources go hand in hand. I also think that'll either help it or make it worse. It'll most likely be the latter, not gonna lie. I tried watching it at my dad's crappy work TV on his Netflix that barely even loaded, and can only get through to the pillow scene, if you know you know, where it just crashed on me. I found out later that my dad, who was there with me, hated it, like most people. When I got my own Netflix account, the show had only 3 seasons, and I watched all of it. And I'm not trying to be funny when I say I actually liked it. Although, of course, there was stuff that made me uncomfortable. Take a wild fucking guess at what they are. I somehow have made a weird connection to the show and its weird fish people-like characters, but I didn't get that into it until Human Resources came. When I found out there was a spin-off involving only the monsters, I was like, oh yeah, I've got to watch that. And of course, I did. I didn't get fixated on it at first, but after March of 2022 and on April, the show started to seep into the cracks of my brain, and oh shit, I'm fixated on the show now. I became so obsessed with it that I became the #1 fan of this spin-off. If you think I'm exaggerating, I literally stayed up late for the release of Season 2 on June 9th, a base release date for the end of the base spin-off. It was on a Friday. I remembered I was the first to see the final season. The fuck did I tell you? Bottom line, this show will forever be known as my top hyperfixations, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I'm not saying you should like it too, because I'm not that kind of person, I guess. However, if you're going to hate on it in the comments, you'll have them deleted, and you need to find another video about this show to bash on it, like the ones I linked down below. Or better yet, make your own videos on it. No one's saying you can't. And if you want me to be a complete nerd and make some clarifications on your videos and the ones I mentioned, please tell me. And what I'm going to ask is a complete hassle, but I can explain myself. See, when I take footage for the show, I always end up with a black screen. I'm sure many of you go through that, and if you don't, please tell me how you do that in the most simplest way possible. Or just send me a Google Drive of the episodes, those that don't have black screens on it, and I'll be set, and I'll reward you with a shout out. Again, I know it's a hassle, but if you want me to go further in depth on the show more than this, I need footage that's not a black wall. I don't know if I should do a single episode review or a whole retrospective on a series. You tell me which one you prefer to listen to as you do whatever. And in conclusion, this man needs more Rule 34.